All right, welcome back to the GLOAT podcast. Let's get down to Queensbury versus Matchroom 5 versus 5 live on June the 1st in Saudi Arabia, where we have 5 great boxing matches, but one dumbass promoter that is still too young for the sport getting lost and trashed and squashed by a 72-year-old man that might have destroyed his father, Barry Hearn, a decade ago, and destroyed Don King Promotions back in 2022 when his fighter Daniel defeated Trevor Bryan, and now he has squashed Eddie Hearn. This is history, if you say, guys. Thanks to Frank Warren Promotions. The Queensbury promoter had just destroyed a third promoter, and to be honest, guys, was it obvious that some crazy stuff was going to happen? Guys, I had a feeling maybe Frank Warren was going to win, but I wasn't expected to be a clean sweep. I was expected to be a 3-2 victory, and there would have been times that it would have been a 3-2 victory. And to be honest, guys, I'm going to get down to business right now, guys. And guys, when I'm done, I'm going to review a couple other fights that I have watched the last week ago and put out my opinion. So with that being said, guys, let's break it down, guys. Live on June the 1st. This is crazy. Also, Bob Arum was also part of the promotion, promoting out one fight with Willie Hutchinson, defeating Craig Richards for the WBC Silver Light Heavyweight title. So, good job for him. Good luck for his career. But still, when it comes down to it, guys, it's going to be interesting. And guys, the first fights I just want to talk about are the fights that are not light heavyweight or heavyweight. So I'm just going to clean sweep the featherweight and the middleweight division because they're not that much exciting to talk about. And guys, there's only one fight I'm not going to talk about, and that's going to be Raymond Ford and Nick Ball. And to be honest, guys, the last time I made a video about Nick Ball and Ray Vargas, people started making horrible comments about me, saying that I wasn't really paying attention to sport. I don't know anything about boxing. I never... guys, to be honest, guys, I never saw much of the fight. I only watched highlights of the fight of Ray Vargas and Nick Ball, so I never watched the full fight before when I made a podcast about it. And by the way, guys, when I actually made a video about it, I was only talking about the scorecards of how one became 116 to 110 for Nick, but the other judges had 114, 112 for Ray, and the other 113 even, and the fight went down even. I didn't talk about the controversial headbutts or the knockdowns that happened. I was only talking about the point abductions and of the knockdown and the scorecards and knowing what my opinion was. So I don't want to talk about Raymond Ford and Nick Ball because, yet again, guys, there's nothing much to say about it. It was a tough competition. You could say that the first round ended with a close competition. Guys, I'm only going to talk about the scorecards. Raymond won round 1. Almost, but I gave it to him. Nick Ball dominated round 2, round 3, but some professional officials said round 2 and round 3 was for Raymond, but not really. I actually gave it to Nick. Definitely Nick. Round 4, round 5, round 6 for all Nick. Raymond had round 7, round 8. Round 9, probably Nick, which was it was close. Round 10, you can say Nick, but Raymond might have had it. And, of course, round 11, round 12. I took the scorecard 114 even in that competition, and to be honest, 3 of the judges had all 115 and 113. 2 of them for Nick and the other for Raymond. And, guys, the reason I don't want to talk about it is how controversial, how Nick Ball scored a draw in that fight with Ray Vargas, and I was like, okay, there's nothing to say about it. Hearing about Raymond Ford and his split decision draw he did in 2021 March against Aaron Perez, I thought to myself, yeah, he's not a heavyweight contender. He's not even a featherweight contender. And he got lucky 3 months ago defeating a guy that was favored to win, only he lost with 7 seconds left of the 12th and final round. There's nothing much I can say about that. So it was bad, but yet again, when you do think to yourself, you do think to yourself, well, Eddie Hearn should have deserved to win that fight. Because if Raymond Ford won that fight, it would have been tough competition. It would have made it interesting. But, of course, God gave it to Frank because, of course, Frank Warren's going to go all the way. And just like Austin Williams and, how do I spell his name? Hamza Shiraz. I'll just call him Shiraz is his last name, if that's how you spell his name. All I can say, guys, is that this 11-round fight in 12 rounds was obvious. There's just nothing much you can say about this because when you look at it from this picture, because, guys, at this moment, when you talk about the Raymond Ford and Nick Ball fight, the other last 4 fights are all knockouts, but somewhat controversial. Okay, so let's break it down. Ladies and gentlemen, so everyone will understand. And with everyone trying to understand what I'm trying to tell you, viewers, is that the Austin Williams fight, I wouldn't say was boring, but there were times that you think to yourself, there should have been point abductions. Because, guys, I found this fight controversial. Like, Austin Williams is 16-0, 11 knockouts. Shiraz, 19 with 15 knockouts. Like, it's not like how amazing, like, the first round was, because when you actually see it, like, you do think to yourself of how close the competition was. Like, if that makes sense to you. So, for instance, because Austin Williams starts out the fight pretty decent, like, interesting, but then Shiraz dominates round 1, Austin dominates round 2, Shiraz back to round 3, round 4, Austin, then come round 5, 10, 7, Shiraz. Round 8 seemed like Austin came back a little bit, somewhat. He might have had some good offense at the time in round 7, but I mean in round 8, but Shiraz, maybe. It was a tough round, but she seemed like Shiraz won. 9, 10, and 11, all Shiraz. Seriously, guys. Like, guys, I could talk about that great moment in round 2 of how the first 20 seconds Austin just pounded the heck out of him. I can talk about that crazy moment where in round 4, out of nowhere, where we had Austin and Shiraz just pumping each other, where he actually buckled Shiraz's knees in round 4 in the first 30 seconds of the fight. I could talk about, like, guys, everything I talk about is obvious. Oh, yeah, and by the way, guys, every time if you viewers hear me say the word upstairs or downstairs, that's a term word for if I see someone punching someone in the body, like a body punch, that's downstairs. Head punches, face, pow, this or that, it's upstairs. So keep that in mind. A lot of people use that term, so just keep that in mind every time I use upstairs or downstairs. Guys, I could talk about anything. It wasn't a boring fight. Like, someone though had to go, and that was that. Like, they both landed each other. But Shiraz was just dominating the fight. Like, he's a tall dude. He had long arms. His arms of reach, of length. It was an easy fight. And seeing him throw that... By the way, guys, seeing that round 11... Like guys, I'll be honest, guys. Did I forget to mention that round 10 was a 10-8 score? Because if you viewers look at the replay... or the action before the replay, like, you do see that, like, seeing Shiraz throw that punch that knocked down Williams in that 10th round was almost like a phantom punch. Because, guys, I freeze framed the video. Like, guys, if you guys watch the highlights as I'm watching right now, let me watch this. He studies the punch, and he swings, but then his white glove passes through Williams' right shoulder, and Williams takes a dive. When I saw that in round 10, I actually almost looked like it was a phantom punch. Like, you viewers just watch the knockdown, and you viewers will understand, because it didn't seem like that his right glove hit him. And the same thing for round 11. Seeing that crazy punch in round 11 and how Williams went down and he stumbled, went to the ropes, and the referee pushed him back, but he decided to throw away the fight. That part really confused me. Because it makes you wonder, he should have continued. We were almost 5 minutes left of this fight. So at the end of the day, guys, the first 2 fights weren't that bad. They were tough fights, but still, guys, the next fights on this list I'm going to talk about to you guys are going to be a lot worse. All right, so it's time. It is time. It is time. Time for Dimitri Bivol and Malik Zinad, a guy with a lot of charisma and a great power puncher. From the country of Libya. Now, Malik has started boxing debut. He's 30 years old, starts at 2015. He's 3 years younger than Dimitri, considering he's boxed since 2014. He's boxed 184 rounds, 22-0 with 50% of his knockouts in 11. His last 9 professional fights has all been decision. He has not knocked out anyone else since a 12th round knockout in March 2018. He hasn't done it in 6 years. Malik has been dominating fashion. He's been on top of the world. He's been trying to battle up, become the first guy from Libya to try to prove himself. He's also the IBF eliminator for the number 2 spot since last April the 24th when he won a majority decision against an 18-year-old guy named Jerome Pampalone in Sydney, Australia. And it takes him like 6 weeks. 6 weeks after his last fight, and he's fighting again for a world title that's not an IBF title, but a WBA title. Something was up, but yet again, I don't know why they pushed this fight, but all we know is if Malik does lose, he still has a chance for a number 2 spot. He still has a chance. But to be honest, this is how the fight starts. Because in the first round, guys, we have Malik. He, like, in hindsight, in the first round of the fight, both of them study each other. They're studying their own counterparts, their own this or that. And around 1 minute and 45 seconds of the fight, we see great punch from Malik. When Malik punched him so hard with an upstairs jab and this or that, both thrown, like when he threw that first jab, I thought to myself, how the heck did Dimitri actually ignore that? You think to yourself that he should have been knocked out. And then about some time later, 30 seconds later, with 45 seconds of the fight, Dimitri throws this amazing jab left, and then Malik throws another jab back, and then suddenly Dimitri throws this 2-punch left, right, combination and sends Zinad down for the first time in his career in the first round. At this moment, guys, I had a feeling that this was just going to be another dominating fight like Wyndham Arthur in Day of Reckoning. It was lame. I didn't like it, and it was going to get worse because by round 2, again, in round 2, round 3, like, out of nowhere, it was all squash. Like, there's nothing I could say about this fight because, like, he did what he had to do. He was throwing combinations, but yet again, Malik was just, like, times when he did throw good punches and this or that, I feel like he was more of a power puncher just like anyone else. Like, guys, when I watch this, I think to myself, is Eddie Hearn a fan of power punchers? Because if that's so, this is what caused him to lose this division that night. Because you think to yourself that Eddie Hearn can learn, but he is not learning the Hearn right now. Like, he just, like, I feel like this is what cost Eddie Hearn to lose every single fight. Not by bad luck in the first 2 fights, but just looking at this. And then come round 4, which seemed like Zinad did a good job. But Dimitri, he was doing good. He was studying himself. He was making sure he was attacking him. He was putting him through the ropes in every round. It just seemed like that Zinad wasn't in his game for some reason. I just feel like, guys, you fight someone and win by majority decision 12 weeks ago in Sydney, Australia. Then you go to Saudi Arabia 6 weeks later to fight against Bivol. I feel like Malik just, I wish he would have just taken a break. And I just feel like this was just not the time for him. And then you come to round 5. This part was crazy. Both fighters are throwing combinations, and come round 5 with 1 minute 30 seconds left of the fight, the crowd's chanting Bivol, 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 and then all of a sudden, Bivol just throws this left combination. It almost looked like he was bleeding. he throws another combination, and out of nowhere, he just throws a barrage of punches. He backs him into the rope. The referee feels like he can start the fight with 1 minute left in the fight. He punches, he throws hard, wild jabs, not like Wilder, but wild jabs. And then he throws left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. And the referee stops the fight 3-0. And this is the first knockout win in Bivol career in 6 years. It took him 10 fights to score another knockout in his career. This match, guys, I don't know what Eddie Hearn was thinking of putting Malik Zanad into this fight 6 weeks after his last fight for an IBF Eliminator number 2 spot. And considering how unlucky he was with Raymond Ford, Nick Ball, and the Austin Williams and Shiraz fight, like, I feel like a lot of this stuff was done by luck for Frank Warren, because there would have been a time that you think to yourself, maybe Eddie Hearn would have had a chance to win. He would have had a chance to save his team, save anyone. But there was no saving in this fight. There was nothing to be saved about this fight. This was an immediate squash match since round 1. Like, there's nothing you can say about this, because at the end of the day, like, it stinks, but I feel like it just wasn't meant to be, and it just ended without no one even cheering on the victory, because at the end of the day, I don't know, it just seemed like it just wasn't meant to be for Zanad. And Dimitri Bivol, good win for him, but to be honest, we're just trying to wait for his undisputed fight with him and the Canadian fighter, because I feel like we deserve to watch that fight. But yet again, we will never know. All right. Daniel Dubois, former WBA World Heavyweight Champion, 20 wins, 2 losses, taken on 17-0 Filip Hrgović, the first Croatian boxer in a long time fighting for the IBF interim champion. Now, guys, before we get to the fight, now information did say that Filip Hrgović was actually upset because in May the 18th, Alexander won the fight. They said that they wanted a rematch clause so they can have a rematch for the fight, which is going to take place in December. The thing is, Tyson Fury was never part of the IBF. Excuse me. So, and they're saying that the mandatory challenger should be Filip Hrgović and Usyk, or maybe Joshua. But yeah, again, who wants to see a third match betwixt them? So at this moment, you think to yourself, no, strip the title away. Like, there's just no way. If he's not going to fight for the IBF mandatory challenger, then fight him. But at this moment, because Daniel Dubois was already going to have a match on June the 1st for this 5v5, so people think to themselves, well, we might as well vacate the title and give it to them. And then for a couple of days before the fight happens, on June the 1st, the IBF already had their reports, and it stated that backstage at the time, days when training for this fight, Filip Hrgović was said to be pissed off that this fight never is not for the title. Now, guys, I don't blame him for being upset, but guys, I did hear a couple people, rumors online saying that if Hrgović knew that this was for the IBF heavyweight title, he would have done better, he would have been more precautious, and he would have won the fight. But now it's for the IBF interim belt. He's been struggling for 2 years. He barely defeated Jilly Zhang by controversial decision. He won against Dempsey McKean easily, but people on the internet have been saying how horrible he is as a boxer because he doesn't have skills, he doesn't have great style, he's just a lucky guy that's winning fights against undefeated opponents. He's not much of a contender, but he deserves to have a spot because he's a Croatian fighter, and I think he deserves a heavyweight title. We have never seen a Croatian fighter ever fought for the heavyweight title since September the 26th, 1998, when Lennox Lewis won 12 rounds by decision against a guy named Zajko Marvarek for the heavyweight title for the WBC. And he was 27-0 at the time in Croatia. And after he lost against Lennox Lewis, he never fought again. So at this moment, like, we're over 25 years since the last Croatian boxer and the first and only to ever fight for a title, which only one Croatian has ever fought for a world heavyweight title. So why not just give him a chance? The IBF says no. Mandatory challenger. Whoever wins is going to be for the eliminator, and that's that. And guys, even if it's true, guys, I don't want to say that Filip Hrgović made an excuse. I'm sure Filip Hrgović is making up excuses right now, saying why he didn't win the fight is because he didn't get over that this fight was for the IBF interim champion. It was never a world heavyweight champion. But whether that's true or not, you still have to be competitive. Ignore everything that's going on right now and just fight the game. Just fight already. And even if this was for the IBF World Heavyweight title, the fight might still end the same way as I'm going to review this now. And how did the fight go? Well, it wasn't a squash match. I believe Filip Hrgović would have won the fight because I did have him. Like, for instance, let's just skip round one, guys, because round one didn't have a lot of punching, but there were times that Hrgović was throwing more punches, and he landed maybe 10 punches while Dubois landed, I don't know, 7? I gotta go back and watch the fight because they do show us those cards after round one. I think Hrgović threw like 40 punches and probably Dubois landed like, I think he landed 5 punches and Hrgović landed 12, but still. But anyway, the first round was easy. The second round, we're 30 seconds into the round, and Hrgović, the second round was pretty decent. Hrgović were throwing out punches upstairs, and Hrgović was throwing good 1-2 punch combinations in the second round at the point. There were times that Hrgović was doing a good job in round 2 that it was pretty decent. But yet again, Dubois was landing more punches of his own at the time in the fight. So they were both doing good job for each other. It wasn't a dominating squash match. Like, the first round was a squash because there weren't a lot, but there was a lot of punches landed for Hrgović, so we know that. We come to round 2, and mostly it was just a good even round. It was a good round, but it seemed like Hrgović might have won that round, but it's up to you viewers to decide. It was a close round, but looking back at it, I feel like Dubois won that round, so I actually gave Dubois that second round just for the heck of it, because it was a good round. But then you come to round 3, round 4, round 5, and round 6, and they were close rounds. They really were. And it seemed like Hrgović might have won each of those rounds, even though they were close. And when I mean close, they were close. They were close to be even whether or not. Like, round 3 was an even round for both of them. And then you come to round 4, and this is when the party happens. You come to round 4, and it seemed like that Dubois found his mark. He was backing him into the ropes. I think there was times that he was doing that as well. Also, guys, there were some good body shots downstairs and good uppercuts, but there were still some chances that, well, no uppercuts, but there were just good jabs and great shots. But Hrgović and Dubois were both evening up each round in every fight. There was no squash rounds in the other rounds except round 1 and round 7. But yet again, it was an even type of fight that you can say this fighter's winning and this fighter's winning, or that fighter's winning and that fighter's winning. So you come to round 5, and again, like, Hrgović won round 4, and in round 5, Hrgović at this moment throws this unbelievable punch. With 1 minute 30 seconds left in the fight, he throws this great right hand. And at this moment, when seeing the buckled, I almost thought Dubois' legs were getting buckled. Because at this moment, I was like, and then with 13 seconds left of the fight, he throws another heavy right punch like, he throws double jab. At this moment, I'm thinking to myself, this is going to be a round win for Hrgovic. And come round 6, yet again, another good fight for Hrgovic. Like, after 6 rounds, it just seemed like Hrgovic was winning the fight. And at this moment, guys, this is when the bloodiness becomes reality for Eddie Hearn here, because you come to round 7 and you think to yourself that, because it did say on the top left corner of the screen where there's actually blue coloring of QB and a 1 with number 6 and 0 on the right with an MR, means Matchroom, with red colors on the left side of the screen of the TV. So you viewers, if you see that, that's the score of what the score is for Matchroom and Queensbury. So this is fight number 4 out of 5. And this fight might be end by knockout, giving Matchroom a chance. But whether that's true or not, that was just far away from truth, because with 1 minute into the 7th round, Dubois just manages to land these great punches, great shots. There's nothing. This is the moment when Filip Hrgovic should have been careful. With 1 minute left in the with 1 minute left in the 7th round, Dubois throws great right hand, backs him to the ropes. He throws another hard right punch of his own with 15 seconds left of the fight. And then he tries to it seemed like he was trying to headbutt his opponent. By the way, guys, I actually forgot to mention that because, guys, I think I forgot to mention, did I ever tell you, viewers, about the controversial, the headbutting in one of the fights, which I think it was the Austin Williams versus Shiraz fight, where there's some headbutt involved? Because I remember there was actually headbutts in round 4 and round 10 or round 11 where Austin Williams was cheating to headbutt Shiraz in that fight. And I said that was somewhat controversial as well, just like any of the other fight, because when watching that, I was thinking to myself, the referees weren't doing their jobs. And I feel bad because, guys, this is the moment when I think to myself, Filip Hrgovic should have won the fight and Dubois should have been penaltied. I think this is the moment where I actually thought to myself, Daniel Dubois should have been penalized. Because with 10 seconds left, like, he punches, Hrgovic has his arm, he's hanging on to Dubois' arm as he's gripping it, so he's clinching him. And Dubois is almost, like, angles his head straight onto him. The referee sees it, stops it, times out, puts Hrgovic, warns him for headbutting. Then the camera cuts to Hrgovic in his bloody face. At this moment, I'm not saying those are caused by headbutts, but at the same time, when you look at this, you think to yourself, why is Hrgovic getting hurt so much? Then why is Hrgovic bleeding more than Dubois, considering that Dubois hasn't bled once? Or maybe he is, we just don't see a lot of bruises. I did find some red flags, and when watching this fight, I was thinking to myself, wait, is Matchroom cheating? Is Frank Warren, is someone put plaster or hand wraps in the gloves or something? Because if there's a reason why Queensbury Rules is actually defeating Matchroom 3 points, like the score is 6-0, and if he wins this, it's going to be 8-0. At this moment, you think to yourself, wait a minute, something's up. I was thinking something controversial, because why is Filip Hrgovic's face bleeding and not Daniel Dubois, and we're only a few seconds away from round 7? And then he walks up to Daniel Dubois. He doesn't have time to put his hands up when Dubois throws a couple more crazy left hands on his face. The bell rings at this moment. And then coming into round 8, his shorts, like Hrgovic's shorts, are bloody with a Croatian flag. He's fighting for his life. And Dubois at this moment is throwing punches. And there's times, and then suddenly he backs him into the ropes, and he turns his body to the left and to the right. Well, he turns his head to the left and the right. It's only you can even see him hit Hrgovic in the chin twice with his head. And I'm like, referee, he's headbutting him. Do something. Because, guys, if you look at him back him to rope, punching left body upstairs, right stairs, upstairs, downstairs. He angles, he goes, boom, hits him while he turns his head to the left, turns his head to the right, left, and to the right and left, and he's just angling the clinch on him. And I'm like, penalty this guy. Penalty Daniel Dubois. He's cheating. And he stops the clinching. He stops the clinching. The referee sees it, and at this moment, seconds later, he says time. At this moment, I'm thinking to myself, oh, he's going to penalize Daniel Dubois. Nope. He goes straight to the goddamn doctor to tell, is Hrgović ready to fight? Is he okay to fight? The doctor looks at his cuts. He whispers right to the referee's ear, waves the fight. What the fuck? Filip Hrgović loses round 8 TKO in 1 minute against Daniel Dubois, a man that should not deserve the win. I was thinking to myself, what about the technical decision? Is there a technical decision? Like, why? At this moment, you think to yourself, if you're Eddie Hearn right now, you think to yourself, this is unfair. This was so unfair. And guys, I even go on to headlines today saying that the next fight for the IBF is now going to be for a heavyweight title, because now I actually heard reports about this saying that I heard rumors saying that Alexander Usyk is going to strip the IBF heavyweight title away, and someone says that the IBF will take place for a vacant title with Daniel Dubois versus Anthony Joshua. What the fuck? We're not here to see two British bastards. We're here to see another country fight for a heavyweight title that has never been fought for since September of 1998 against Lennox Lewis. This is unfair. Guys, it still upsets me when I look back at the fight like last week ago, seeing when I saw Lawrence Okali go first round knockout against a Polish guy named Lukas Razanski for the WBC Bridgeweight title. And I watched that fight and I'm thinking to myself, dude, Polish fighters suck in the heavyweight. Come on, man. Don't give British people and Russian people and Ukrainian and American people. They've won enough titles in the heavyweight division. Give some other countries a chance to fight for the title, huh? Like, guys, I don't think Zhilei Zhang will ever fight for a world heavyweight title in his life. I know he won't. But the least you can do is try to give them chances. This is the most unfair, unacceptable in boxing. This should have not been a win for Daniel Dubois. He should have never deserved to win this fight due to his headbutts he did in round 8 and some of the stuff that happened in the 7th. But still, and guys, Hrgović won the fight. I did give him the scorecards. I scored his cards 68-65. Clearly, it was a win. Why didn't they go to scorecards like Evander Holyfield with the Hasim Ratman, or that fight in 2002 where the fight went 8 rounds and surprisingly Evander Holyfield won by technical decision in 2002 in one fight? Why not they do that? Like, some of these things would have been changed for, but this was just some fight that I did not like, and it was the worst, and I was pissed off, not because of Eddie Hearn, because, guys, Filip Hrgović, if he lost by knockout against Dubois, I would have been like, okay, I'm upset, but you know what, Dubois did what he did, just like he did to Jarrell Miller, so I guess. But come on, man. It's so weird. And guys, I just hope to God they don't strip the IBF title right now, because if they do and they just give it to now Joshua and Dubois, we know Anthony Joshua is going to kill Daniel Dubois. We know that. But come on, it's tiring. I don't feel like it's deserving. I just, no. Guys, I feel like ever since Alexander Usyk became undisputed, these things are just turning into a disaster of crime. It's just so bad that you have these countries around the world. Because, guys, it's not just the UK, Ukraine, Russia, or America that's fighting for the heavyweight division in boxing. We have Ajit Kabayel from Germany. No one has won a title in Germany since 2017 with Manuel Charr, but people don't think that deserves to be, because the WBA regular heavyweight title is not a title. He even won in 2023 by the court. And, of course, people still think Max Schmeling is still the only fighter. It's not like how you think to yourself when George Foreman and won in 1995 against a German fighter with Axel Schultz, and how he got robbed several times for winning a heavyweight title because people think German people are the worst. But you guys understand, like, what about Chinese people? Zhou Zhang, the only fighter, and he's still ranked into the division heavyweight. Martin Bakal, like, he's from the country of the Republic of Congo. Like, should he deserve a heavyweight title? He's number one in the WBA, so he should deserve it. Otto Wallin, we need a Swedish fighter. Armenian, Murat Gassiv. Like, Filip Hrgovic, he's from Croatia. What about Luis Ortiz or even Frank Sanchez or any of those other Cuban fighters? They deserve it. We haven't seen a Cuban fighter win a heavyweight title in boxing. Or Kazakhstan with Zan Kosobowski. Like he hasn't won a title before. Or even Denmark, Kem Lundqvist. And to be honest, we don't know if he even has a chance of being a title contender. Like, my point is, guys, we have a bunch of countries around the world that have no chance to go for a heavyweight title, but can we at least give them a chance to be in the rankings and to go for the rankings for a heavyweight title? It's lame, and I hate that we have these countries that have won titles over and over again. It's bad that we have Britain and the Ukraine doing a good job dominating, because I feel like the Ukraine, British, and the USA are the only countries that are that good in heavyweights because they've been around the sport for a long time. British people and American have been around the heavyweight since the bare knuckle era in the 1900s and during the 19th century. So it's so bad that you have a lot of these countries that have no chance of going for the title because their country hasn't been around the sport for a long time, or mostly in the heavyweight division. It's upsetting to me, and I just wish this is not the case. And it stinks that these countries will never have a chance to go for a heavyweight championship. We know Zhou Zhang won't win a heavyweight champion. We know Adjik Kabayel might, but he might not win the title. Martin Bakal, he might not get a title shot, and if he does, he might not win because he might not. Who knows? Like, any of these countries around the world do not have a chance, and that's what upsets me the most, and I just hate it. I hate it so much, and I'm going to keep saying it until the day's over. So yeah, Daniel Dubois goes for the win, and he wins it by stupidity of doctors, and that's it. Fight's over, and that's all you can say. Deontay Wilder versus Zhou Zhang for the undisputed waste of time heavyweight title. You guessed it. Waste of time heavyweight title. I came up with that title myself because you have a former WBC champion that had all of his spunk, his charisma, and all his competitiveness come to an end because of the trilogy fight that happened with him and Tyson Fury for the last 3 years. There would have been a time that Deontay Wilder would have defeated Tyson Fury in 2018 with that round 12 knockout. Tyson Fury got lucky. Come 2020, the costume gained him weight. He gained it 10 pounds. Yeah, he gained 7 more pounds in fight 3. He knocked it down Tyson twice in the 4th round, and in that final 4th round, the referee counts slow. Like, guys, Tyson Fury got back up at the count of 11 when the referee counted to 8 in the 3rd trilogy fight. Wilder definitely won that fight, only for Fury to defeat him in round 11. If there's one guy that we think that should have deserved to kick Wilder's ass before Usyk beated him, would have been Wilder or John McDermott in 2009. Those would have been the only 2 fighters I would have thought that deserved to defeat Fury. It's so bad. But Zhang, on the other hand, he lost in a controversial decision against Filip Hrgovic, and he's still trying to recover last year and a half ago against the Jerry Forrest fight due to his dehydration and this or that. Gets a couple nobodies. Unlucky with Filip Hrgovic because I think we already know he deserved to win that fight. We get him to defeat Joe Joyce, breaks his eyes. That's it. End of story. Yeah, it's like Joe Joyce destroyed Daniel Dubois' eyes in friggin' 2020 when he had his friggin' eye socket demolished, and that's how Daniel Dubois lost his first fight. Guess what? 2023, Zhang destroys Joe Joyce's eyes in the first fight, knocks him out in the second fight, and then Daniel Dubois destroys Hrgovic's face and eyes, and that's it. It's like, I feel like every time someone has a broken face, that's how they lose their first O. Danny DeBlanc, Joe Joyce, and Phil Hrgovic lost their first ever professional fight due to their swollen eyes or bloody face. How effing lame is that? At least Deontay Wilder lost his first fight by getting knocked out, or Mark Bruin throwing in the towel, because you know cornermen are always worried about their fighters because they don't want their fighters to die. It's not like in 2019, 4 boxers died in 2019 from different parts of the country, and there's reasons why people always pay attention to those types of news. Unless if you're a manager or a towel thrower or a trainer, you gotta protect your fighter, even if they tell you that they want to die in the ring. And then suddenly, come March, Joseph Parker defeats Zhilei Zhang after his win against Deontay Wilder in. Should I even say the pay-per-view again? No, I'm not. It's just crazy. And crazy how he almost defeated Joseph Parker, considering he almost did. Now he's taking on Deontay Wilder. Both of these two guys have lost by decision against Joseph Parker in the last 7 months since Parker won both of the fights against them. So at this moment, I think to themselves, they both have multiple losses in their career, but they can still have a chance to fight for a heavyweight title shot, even if Zhang can't win. But Wilder could still have a chance. It did say that a couple of days ago that if Wilder did say a couple of days ago before the fight saying that if he loses, he'll retire. So it's not how he loses, but it's how he retires from this fight. 38 years old, Deontay Wilder, 214.5 pounds with 282.5 pound. Zhilei Zhang, he's 41 years old, both 6'6" fighters. Deontay, 38 reach advantage, 80 reach advantage of Zhilei. This fight was pretty bad. Like the first round, Deontay Wilder both start out the fight. They managed to throw out their good hard jabs in the first fight. And surprisingly, Deontay did a good job in the first round. Because both of them were studying each other in the fight at the time. But then you come to round two. Guys, come to round two, and Zhang did not hesitate to go for the attack. I think he knew after what Parker did to Wilder, he just went for it because he was more easier than Parker. He attacked him before the first minute of the second round. He was angling him in the corner ropes the same way as how Wilder took care of Audrey Harrison in 2013 when he was throwing barrages of punches at him that ended his career, or the same way in 2018 when Luis Ortiz hurt Wilder in round 7 2018 and he was almost about to win that fight, which I think he should have won that fight. It was crazy. That second round was so crazy of how Zhang just went in that fight without hesitation. And then come round 3, 1 minute into the fight, Wilder is about to throw his right punch out of nowhere, but then Zhang throws his punch. They both throw their right punches like Rocky Balboa and Apollo Creed did in the end of the third movie. Wilder angles his punch beautifully. It knocks back Zhang's head. But surprisingly, maybe a split millisecond later, Zhang gets his right punch on Wilder, hits him right here for some weird reason, and it stumbles Wilder for some reason. I don't know why, and he gets him cornered. Like, that was pretty scary when you think to yourself, both of these guys are power punchers, but I don't think being a power puncher can help you become champion. It doesn't. So, like, don't get me wrong, guys. You have Zhilei Zhang, a 2008 Olympic silver medalist in the super boxing, the super heavyweight division, the top tier, with 2008 bronze medalist Deontay Wilder in the heavyweight, which is quote unquote the cruiserweight in the amateur games. Because guys, in 2008, both of them were in the Olympics, but they weren't competing in the same division in tournament. Because, like I said before, Deontay Wilder was fighting for the smaller heavyweight division, known as the cruiserweight, and bronze, and Zhang was fighting for the super heavyweight and lost getting the silver medal. So people in the comments keep saying to themselves, saying, oh man, if Deontay Wilder won that fight in the semifinals, we should have had a fight with him and Joey Zhang in 2008 a long time ago. They were never going to fight in the 2008 Olympics because they were both in two divisions. There's two types of amateur boxing divisions that have the same word of heavyweight. Heavyweight and super heavyweight. Super heavyweight is the top tier, and heavyweight is the second tier in amateur boxing. Keep that in mind. Like, guys, my point is, both of these guys have been in the sport for a long time. Zhang never started boxing in this pro since 2014, and we already know he lost in the quarterfinals in 2012 Olympic Games against AJ. That would become gold medalist that same year, and now he's a champion, a contender. And now we have Deontay Wilder that started his pro debut in 2008, and it's so amazing to see two Olympians boxing in the 2008 Olympic Games that it's just so amazing. And of course, guys, when you see them both throwing huge power punches at each other, it's pretty entertaining, but at the same time, guys, power punches won't help you be a heavyweight champion or be top contender. Yes, it could help you maybe win fights, but Zhang knocked out Phil Perkovich and Joseph Parker, and he should have won those fights, but he never did. Yeah. Come round 4, Joey Zhang again attacking Wilder as Parker did to Wilder in Day of Reckoning, and again, he was just dominating the fight. And then come round 5, which should have been the obvious round that everyone was expected to win, because 30 seconds into the 5th round, it's crazy because 30 seconds, Wilder throws his right punches, he backs Zhang's into the ropes, and he punches him back through again. And at this moment, I was like, oh yeah, now we're getting back to action, boys. Joey Zhang is going to get his butt beat, or Deontay Wilder is going to end his career, because I'm thinking to myself, maybe Wilder should retire. Who knows? And 1 minute later into the fight, with 1 minute 30 seconds of the fight, Zhang backs him into the ropes. He angles his right glove. He throws this amazing, somewhat body punch to the left. His left body shot downstairs, which I almost thought he hit him in the groin. I actually thought he hit Wilder in the groin with that punch. And then Wilder turns his body, moves straight to the left to get out of the corner, and then he throws this. It almost looked like he chopped Zhang with his fist hard when he got out of the rope. Like, when I saw him chopped him with his right hand right here, I almost thought to myself, how the hell is Joey Zhang still up? How are these punches not hurting him? Like, it's so crazy, because you have Deontay Wilder that doesn't have his spunk anymore, because I'm sure guys, there's people in the comments that are saying that, guys, there's people are saying that Deontay Wilder was a great fighter, but some people are saying he's not a fighter. He's just a guy with a power punch. And people even say that Deontay Wilder lost all of his competitive edge after his trilogy fights against Tyson Fury. And that makes sense why his power isn't there anymore, because he just lost the will to be that fighter that everyone's scared of. So seeing him throw that right punch straight on the Zhang, I just think it goes to show you that his power punching is gone. He's just not a heavy power puncher no more. And Zhang is hurting him in these friggin' rounds. And then seconds later, after he gets out of the rope, throws that chop punch, almost like a karate chop. They go into the middle of the rope, and Wilder sets him up for that punch. Zhang puts his gloves up, and then seconds later, Zhang, out of nowhere, turns his body this way with his glove here. Wilder, he's about to move his body this way, and when he does, Wilder throws his right punch, misses Zhang, but Zhang gets his punch and hits Wilder cleanly. And before you know it, Wilder picks up his left foot and goes the other way, 180 degrees to the right, to the corner of the rope. He walks 2 steps with his left and right, and he's going, oh, wait, who hit me? Well, where did that punch go? Who hit me? Like, I don't even think Wilder saw Zhang about to throw that punch, because when he was about to throw that left punch, that right punch, Zhang throwed his. I don't think Wilder saw that punch coming. I do not think Deontay was expecting him to throw his own right punch, because Wilder throws his punch, misses, Zhang hits his. I don't think Wilder saw that punch because it stunned him. It backs him. He steps on his left foot, right foot, going back. The referee does nothing. Wilder turns around, and Zhang ends it with a punch right here to the noggin, brings him down. Down goes Wilder, and the commentators goes, is this how it ends for Wilder's career? And guys, this part pisses me off the most. Wilder gets up at 8. He turns around, and instead of backing into the ropes like what Anthony Joshua did when he was knocked out against Andy Ruiz, like in the 3rd round and in the 7th round, of how he gets back up and he goes to a corner, to a neutral corner, and he puts his hands like this, and he's just taking his time, earning the seconds. Instead of doing that, Wilder doesn't do that. He listens to the goddamn referee. And guys, and don't get me wrong, it's not like how that referee told Joshua to come near him in that Andy Ruiz one fight in Madison Square Garden, almost like how he stopped the fight in round 7. But still, like, instead of doing that, instead of having to do Anthony Joshua, just take a deep breath and then walk up to the referee to put your hands up, to walk straight, Wilder decides to stand up during the count of 8, gets up on the ropes, turns around, and the referee tells him to come this way. He's walking like a goddamn fucking zombie when he's doing it. The referee notices it, and he stops the fight. Zhilei Zhang's the winner. How stupid can you be when you're a boxer? Like, Deontay Wilder should have just went to the neutral corner, take a couple breaths, and then be calm, and then he'll walk over to the referee, and then it's like, I feel like, guys, this was the end of Deontay Wilder. I feel like Deontay Wilder didn't want to do that. I just think he just wanted to give up on life, and that was it. He knew his career was dead, and that was it. He has 4 losses in his career. Zhilei Zhang is back. The Big Bang Zhang is the winner, and Matchroom Boxing, Queen sweeped Eddie Hearn's not Matchroom, but Queensbury. Queen sweeped everything on Matchroom. At the end of the day, guys, I think we all have to respect this, because at the end of the day, it is what it is, guys, but I can't be upset about this. So, guys, is Deontay Wilder going to retire? I think so. Zhilei Zhang, will he go for a title shot? I hope so, and I hope I'll give him a chance, because I think Zhilei Zhang deserves to get a heavyweight title shot, but it is hilarious. By the way, guys, I did laugh my head off when they announced Zhilei Zhang's the winner and they play Eye of the Tiger. That kind of confused me. But yeah, all I can say, guys, that literally this was just a crazy moment in boxing history. And as we're only 18 hours since, and by the way, guys, I just clicked on the video of the brutal KO of Zhilei Zhang versus Deontay Wilder highlight video of the Queensbury versus Matchroom. And as of 18 hours since the video was uploaded on DAZN Boxing, it has 2.6 million views. So there's a lot of boxing fanatics out there that do care about boxing and do care about the fighters that they're watching. So at the end of the day, guys, do people care about Eddie Hearn? To be honest, guys, I don't think Eddie Hearn knows about much of boxing. At the end of the day, I really do believe that there's going to be some interesting stuff in boxing that we do have to pay attention of. But yet again, I think we all have to take it easy for a while, because who knows what's going to happen. Any other boxing out there can be good, but I think we have to be precautious in the future, because whoever is the next fighter to become a champion, it's not how you're a champion. I think you just have to be precautious, because there's a lot of fighters out there that are more skillful than you. And if you only care about having an undefeated record, you do not deserve to be a boxing contender. So at the end of the day, I think we all have to look at that for a perspective and understand that, because if you can't accept a loss, then there's no way. And I just don't think Deontay Wilder could accept that. At the end of the day, guys, it is what it is. There's a lot of boxing fights out there in the world today, and there's times that I am upset of watching this footage and watching stuff back again. But when you look at it in today's world, guys, can you be upset about it? Nah. It is what it is. Anyway, guys, that is the end of this episode. Thank you for watching the Mr. GLOAT podcast for our show. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. And next time, I'm going to be reviewing the WBC heavyweight title for part 3. I'm going to be doing part 3 of the road to the undisputed heavyweight championship, part 3 of the WBC. So with that being said, guys, thank you for watching this video. And the GLOAT podcast says, FoxWolf out.